If you're a fan of the channel, you know that I love Melodious. It's a good deck, and up until now I've shown you how to play them, what they can do against one of the best meta decks of the format, and the success I've had taking them to an OTS championship. However, a few of you have correctly stated that this deck doesn't exactly produce many negates. In fact, the standard end board produces none. But that's not to say that it can't. On Master Duel, I've already shown you how a single Ostinato can get you an Appaloosa, a Vortex Dragon, and an IP which could then go into an SP during your opponent's turn. Now in the TCG we obviously don't have Appo, but how would you feel if I told you we can trade that for a Floodgate instead? That's right, this deck makes Protos, and today I'm gonna show you how. Let's get into it. Like all of your other good Melodious combos, this combo begins with Ostinato. So you want to activate Ostinato, and you want to use it to summon out Bacha. But this time we'll be sending 2 Refrains to the graveyard instead of a Refrain and a Soprano. So yeah, let me just grab the second Refrain, send them both to grave, and then we summon Bacha outside of the field. Bacha hits the field, we're going to use her effect to summon out the third Refrain. Yeah, this combo uses all of them. You'll then be activating Refrain's effect on summon to search out Couplet. Couplet's effect will activate in hand to summon out a Melodious from grave. In this case, we're summoning out another Refrain. Not like we have many other options. You want to activate Couplet into scale, use her effect to search out Concerto, and then from here you want to fusion summon out a second Bacha, and you want to make sure that you use your Couplet in scale and then either of your Refrains. So once Bacha is summoned, the pendulum scale effects will activate. So you want to go chainlink 1 Refrain and chainlink 2 Couplet. This is important because we want to chain block the Refrain. We won't be pendulum summoning, but it is important to make sure that we get to resolve the Refrain effect, as I'm going to do now. So we're going to use Refrain, we're going to target our Bacha, and then you need to send a level 4 Melodious from deck's grave. In this case, I'm just going to send Aria. From here, you'll want to make an Absolute Dragon using your 2 fusion monsters. And then you want to link summon into Cross Sheep exactly. In the new chain, there's going to be a couple of trigger effects. You want to make sure that you use Ardai's Absolute Dragon as chainlink 1. This is just a good habit to make because Vortex Dragon's effect when it's summoned that removes an attack position monster only works when it is chainlink 1. It's a win effect. So yeah, that's chainlink 1. Then you want to go chainlink 2 Bacha. You want to summon out the Refrain. And then chainlink 3, you want to chain block with the Concerto. Okay, you're going to summon into the zone underneath the other extra monster zone, and then you want to summon the Vortex Dragon to a zone the Cross Sheep points to. This will trigger Cross Sheep's effect, and we will then summon out the Aria from grave to south field. Make sure you always have at least 1 pendulum monster face up in your extra deck zone, so that your Vortex Dragon is always live. So this means it is tempting to want to, pendulum summon so you can extend further, but you're going to hold off on that. From this position, you want to make an Exceed the Pendulum using your Cross Sheep and your Refrain. Yeah, that's all we're using. Then its effect will trigger to add 1 of your Refrain from the extra deck back to your hand. You'll then use her effect to summon out the pendulum monster from your hand, so in this case the Refrain, and from here you want to overlay into a Banshee. Banshee's effect, we want to detach the Refrain. In case we get stopped here, we can then summon back the Refrain during our opponent's turn using the Exceed. So yeah, make sure you detach that, and you want to add Nemeses Flag to hand. Add to hand, not to grave. Because we have no normal summon, we can just normal summon this. We don't even have to have anything banished. We'll just activate its effect now, and we're going to search out Protos. Going to use Protos' effect, and we want to banish the Banshee from outside of the field, Cross Sheep from our grave, and the Absolute Dragon from our grave. And then it doesn't really matter where we summon it to, so we'll just summon it there. And we've got a Protos on our side of the field. Banshee's effect will activate to summon herself back because she was banished. And from this position, we can activate Protos' effect to call either light, dark, fire, or wind. Those are pretty big ones because dark means we can kind of shout out the Azamina stuff and, Malice and Orcus moving into the new format. Light shuts out Fiendsmith. Fire, Tempai, Snake Eyes. There's tons of fire decks. Wind, Ritual Beast, exactly. It's good. It's so good. You basically check every meta deck with this combo. But let's go into the deck profile and discuss whether this is worth making or not. So the thought that should be going through your mind right now is this combo gimmicky or not? Well, despite playing the Protos package in the side deck, I'm here to tell you that it's not gimmicky at all. See, in Melodious, Protos does most of its heavy lifting when coming off the bench. This is because you're investing a lot into summoning it, so you need to know what your opponent is playing to flood game them accordingly and to make the most of it. Essentially, this combo turns your Ostinatos into copies 4 to 6 of D-Barrier. 6 D-Barriers mean that you have about a 58% chance of seeing at least one of them in your opening hand. Now this figure isn't super reliable, but it does mean that you should have access to one in at least half of the games you're siding. Also, this is a going first combo, so you want to make sure that you don't risk bricking on any of the pieces when going second. Putting Protos in the side fixes this. Lastly, this combo is great because it protects you against Nibiru, which your opponent might be siding against you during games 2 and 3. Yes, Melodious can dodge Nibiru, but doing so compromises on the strength of your end board, so it's best to negate the rock outright. All in all, this is probably how I'll be playing Melodious at my regional at the end of the month, and I recommend that you consider doing the same. See you guys in the next.